Hi everyone, it's Brittany, and today we are going to be talking about manifesting for other people. So before I even get into this, I want to remind you that you are experiencing your own personal world. It is your consciousness that you are experiencing. And in your world, you are the only conscious person. So other people, yes, have their own experiences. So your mom has her own personal experience that you will never know of. You can only ever experience your own world. So in the same way, other people in your life are experiencing their own personal realities, and they get to choose to see you and experience you in any way they choose to. Okay, so understand that in your world, you are the only conscious creator. That's it. So when we talk about manifesting for others, what you're actually doing is giving yourself an experience where this particular person in your life is presenting themselves differently than they have been for you. So even if you, let's say you have a family member that's struggling financially and you decide that you don't want to see them struggle anymore. And I get that. I agree with that. So what you're going to do is choose to see them differently and choose to define yourself differently in relation to them. And don't worry, we're going to get into this in more detail. But once you do that, they will show up in a different way. So you can have a conversation with them about how, wow, money is really just flowing into your life now. And they will agree with you. They will confirm that for you. Again, not because you're manifesting it for them in their own world, but because you're manifesting it for yourself in your own experience. Now, with that being said, that doesn't mean that, oh, well, what's the point then? I mean, you want to live a happy, peaceful, fulfilling life in all ways, then you should choose to see everyone in your experience, whether they're close to you or not, as their highest version, as successful, as living their best life, as healthy, as abundant, as happy. You should see everyone that way. You should choose to see everyone that way. And the way that you do that is by understanding who you are. So, as I always do, I want to remind you who you are. You are the I am. You are the faceless, formless, invisible substance of power. Think about that. You have no form. You have no form. So you are taking on different forms with your energy by understanding that you are the source of all form. Okay. So I was working with someone who had a, let me see how I can explain this. I don't want to give too many details because she doesn't want me to give too many details. Okay. So I was working with somebody who basically said she doesn't understand why her brother has completely opposing views than she does when it comes to politics. And look, guys, you can have your own beliefs about that stuff. I'm not into it. So we're not going to talk about that. But what we are going to talk about is she was really not understanding everyone is you pushed out. And she said, if everyone is me pushed out, why wouldn't my brother have the same political views as me? And I said, it's everyone is you pushed out does not mean that everybody just agrees with you and repeats what you say. That's not what it means. What it means is based off of your identification of yourself in relation to the world, relationships, family members, friends, things, money, success, whatever it is, your relationship with yourself, how you view yourself, and the way that you define yourself in relation to all things. That is the way that you experience others and experiences based off of that definition. So everyone is you pushed out just means that based off of what you accept for yourself, what you identify with is what you will experience in things, and others. That's all that it means. So yes, it's very likely that you have experiences with people that don't agree with you on things. And if you don't like that, if you want to experience something different, the first thing that you need to do is first and foremost, remember who you are. As I always say, come back, take a step away from these human identities, these human stories for a minute, and just come back to who you are. And from there, realizing that you can take on any experience, any form that you choose to, you are choosing the experience where we're going to start with you. So for her situation, because it was her brother, every time they would get together, she said it was a very stressful environment. And she felt like she was really anxious leading up to the time where she was going to spend time with him. And she just knew it would end in an argument. So I said, okay, first of all, you want to define yourself in relation to your brother. And you also want to define yourself just in general. So you are the kind of person that everyone gets along with. You're the kind of person that people tend to be on the same page with. And when it comes to your brother, you guys have such an easy, what was the thing that we chose? I can't remember now. Because she had said she felt like she was walking on eggshells every time she was around him because she didn't want to say the wrong thing. And so when we decided like how she would define the relationship, she said really free, really lighthearted, really easygoing. That's what she wanted with him. So that's how she defined the relationship with her brother. But the way that she was defining herself was what was most important. So yes, you want to come up with some sort of definition of the relationship. So if we're talking about other people, which we are here, you want to figure out what definition you would give to your ideal relationship with this person. And then you want to support that with your identity. So for her, man, I love having the most easygoing, lighthearted relationship with my brother. Every time we get together, you know it's going to be fun. Every time we get together, it's going to end in some amazing story to tell. And we just love spending time with each other. And then she took that and said, but of course that makes sense for me because I am somebody that everyone enjoys being around. I'm somebody that everybody gets along with. So you see what she did. She used the relationship with her brother, the definition that she was choosing, and then she supported it with her definition of who she knows herself to be. So that's what she did. And what ended up happening was she went over to his house like a couple weeks after we started working together, and they had a huge argument. And so she came to me and was really upset and was like, I don't understand what I did wrong. I've done everything that you told me to. And I said, okay, hold on a second. Why are you saying that you've done something wrong? And she said, well, because I went to his house and it ended in a huge argument and now he's pissed off at me and he won't answer my calls. So clearly I didn't do what I was supposed to do. And I said, hold on a second. We've talked about this before, and I talk about this in my videos. Old identity. And as you guys know, or I think some of you know, I tend to not even want to call it old identity. It's just a character. It's a character. So that character that you used to identify with, the one that you used to identify with, is going to do everything that it can to pull you back, bring you back over there. And so really it presents itself to you in many different ways. Sometimes it's in thought, oftentimes it's in feeling, and it even happens in experience. So all that is your character, your previous character saying, hey, I'm still here. You can still choose me. Remember me? That's all that's happening. So just because you were in the right place and you were like seemingly doing it right, which she was, by the way, she wasn't doing anything wrong, but she was then jumping to some sort of conclusion that, oh no, this means that I've done something wrong. No, it doesn't mean anything. It just means it's something that exists within your consciousness, and you exist in all things. So Everything exists within your consciousness. So it's possible for you to experience, number one. Number two, it's very clear that it was that previous character trying to survive. So it's giving you an opportunity to say, yes, I still want to accept this, by seeing this as, oh no, this is the truth. This is what keeps happening. And then totally forgetting what you've decided and who you've chosen to be. Or to say, okay, yeah, I see it. I feel what I'm feeling. I think what I think about it. But no, I'm not choosing that. That has nothing to do with me anymore. So these characters, these storylines, these realities are always presenting you with an opportunity to choose them. And I have used this analogy with people before, but I always think about a buffet. So if you go to a buffet and you really don't like seafood, and there's tons of different types of foods, but then they have a little table with a bunch of seafood, are you going to sit here and complain and get upset and be frustrated that, oh my God, they keep offering me seafood. I don't want seafood. Like I can't eat seafood. Okay, totally get that. Nobody's forcing you to eat seafood though. It's just an option. It's just being presented to you. You don't have to do anything with it. Yes, you see it. Yeah, you smell it. You could taste it if you wanted to, but you don't choose it. So no, thank you. No, I see it's there. Cool. But I don't want that. I'm not choosing that for myself. So she had her moment where she needed to feel what she was feeling. And then she went back and reminded herself, I have the most easygoing, fun, close relationship with my brother. I love spending time with him. And what she did that I really want to point out is she completely dropped that old storyline. She stopped entertaining it. She stopped giving life to it. When we had our session where I explained to her, look, things will present themselves to you at any moment. So you have to understand that if you see something that doesn't fit your definition of who you say you are, then disregard it. Don't make it mean anything about you, because it doesn't mean anything about you at all. So once she understood that, she was like, all right, no more. I'm not telling this old story anymore. I don't care what he says. I don't care what thoughts I have. I'm going to continue to focus on this. And the next time she saw her brother, which by the way, they didn't have any conversation in between that time. So she was getting a little bit nervous because she was going to see him again at her mom's house. And she was like, I kind of thought at this point, maybe he would have called me and apologized, but that hasn't happened. So I'm kind of nervous about this interaction. And I was just like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to be nervous. It's okay to have your fears and your doubts, but don't forget who you are. Stand in that. And so she even told me, like, as she pulled up into her mom's driveway, she sat in her car for a few minutes, took some deep breaths, remembered who she really is, not even in the human identity, but her true nature of I am. And she just sat there for a couple minutes with that. And then she went in. And the experience was amazing. Not only did her brother apologize, which by the way, she wasn't trying to manifest. What apology would she need to manifest if she has an easy, happy relationship with her brother, right? So even though she wasn't trying to manifest an apology, she got one. So I wanted to point that out too, because a lot of you will say, but I really want an apology. Okay. You can manifest an apology if that's what you want. But all that does is keep you in a reality where this person has hurt you or has done you wrong, and you're going to continue to see them that way. So somebody that has done wrong and has hurt you, I don't know, do you see that they're going to apologize? Maybe if that is true for you, maybe if you expect this type of person to apologize, okay, you'll get the apology. But most likely you'll get the apology when you choose to drop that old story altogether and see them as their ideal. So that's what she did, and it went smoothly. There was no discussion of politics. There was no conversation whatsoever about any sort of current events that were going on. They just talked about like their childhood, funny stories that the mom was sharing. Like it was like they just reminisced on their amazing relationship. And there was no mention of any sort of issue whatsoever. So she was really, really happy about that. But again, I want to remind you guys, you're not changing anyone. You're not manifesting anything for anyone. You're not doing any of that. You are choosing the version of you that you want to be, and then choosing to see this particular person or people, whatever it is, in the ideal way that you would want to perceive them. So that's all you're doing. And I wanted to mention this with myself. I had an experience where I had somebody in my life that struggled with mental health issues. And I had tried for years to manifest, a different situation for them. And I would have little, movement here and there, like I've said before, but just nothing tangible, nothing consistent. And none of it changed until I chose to see myself differently. My emphasis and focus was on that person all the time. And coming from an identity of someone who has defined their relationship with this particular person as really rocky, really tumultuous, always kind of not knowing how the situation is going to go. And basically this person just really, really struggling. That was how I was defining myself in relation to my relationship with this person. And so then from there, me trying to convince myself that, oh, this person has always been healthy. It's not going to be the best way to go about it. And like I said, that's what I was doing for years. And I would get up and down every now and then, but that was it. And that was because I was trying from an identity of somebody who has this one particular relationship, and was trying to convince myself that it was something different, when, as I always say, creation is finished. That means that there is always going to be a version of myself that is in a relationship with this particular person that struggles with mental health issues. That's always going to exist. I can't change that. But what I can do is choose to define myself in a different way, therefore defining this person in a different way and having a different experience with them. So that's what I did. I focused on myself and my relationship with this person. And then whenever I worried or had a lot of, doubt or insecurity or fear about their well-being, I would just remind myself, like, no, he's always been a healthy person. He's always been very healthy. And go back to my little anchor, my support of who I am. But yeah, of course, because our relationship has always been this way. So I know him to be that way. Do you see what I'm saying? Hopefully this makes sense. So yes, I chose to see him as his healthy self. I chose to see him as thriving in all ways, but that's where the focus on him stopped. And the dominant focus was on me and who I am and what kind of relationships I experience. So it's always about you. Remember, you're the only conscious creator in your experience. Everyone else is just reflecting who you are, who you define yourself as, how you see yourself in relation to the world. That's all that's ever happening. So yeah, that's it. That's all that there is to this video. It's no more than that. I don't want to go on and on about this. This is as straightforward as I can be. This is how you manifest for others. But remember, you're just choosing a different experience for yourself. You are not ever, violating anybody's free will, because in your reality, you're the only conscious one making these choices and decisions. In anybody else's reality, yes, there's 8 billion other points of consciousness that exist. They are all choosing and using their own free will to determine what they want to experience. So the way that I like to look at it is, if you are choosing a healthy version of this person, for example, what you're doing with your own free will is choosing to see them as healthy, and they, in their own free will, choosing their healthy self, you're meeting them there. Now, again, yes, it's just you and your experience, but you're not manipulating them in any way. You're not forcing them to make some choice that they don't want to make. You are choosing with your own free will, and they choose with their own free will. Always, always, always. So you don't have to worry about that. But again, you are only ever experiencing your own personal world. So When people ask me, can I manifest for them? Yes, I intend the best for all of you, whether you're my client or you just watch my videos or I see you out on the street. I always, always, always choose to see the best in everyone, and I always intend the best for everyone. But just because that's what I do and that's what I get to experience in my life doesn't mean that that's what they're choosing for themselves. And I will never, ever know that. So same thing with you guys. If we have a session, I always, once we end the call, intend the best for you, and that will be my experience. But if you don't intend the best for yourself, if you don't see yourself as your ideal, if you don't know the truth of who you are, then what I choose to see you as in my reality has no effect on you. Okay? So yeah, guys, I hope that this video made sense. I hope that it was helpful for you. As always, if you have any questions, please leave them below. But I think this video really touches on a lot of the questions that I've had in the comments. So be open-minded, really listen a few times if you need to really understand what I'm saying here. This is relevant for everyone. All right, guys, I hope you have an amazing rest of your week. Thank you so much for being here with me. I love you all so, so much. I appreciate you more than you could ever know, and I will see you soon.